Rand al'Thor, also known as the Dragon Reborn, is the fictional main character and protagonist of The Wheel of Time, a series of fantasy novels by Robert Jordan. Rand al'Thor has many other titles within the series, among Wetlanders, The Dragon Reborn, Lord of the Morning, Prince of the Dawn, True Defender of the Light. Among the Aiel, He Who Comes with the Dawn, among the Atha'an Miere, Coramoor, among wolves, Shadowcolor. Description: Rand is depicted as having grey or blue eyes and reddish hair and is good-looking. He is about 6 feet 5 inches or 6 feet 6 inches with a physique said to be typical of the Aiel. As a result of events at the end of the Knife of Dreams, Rand has lost his left hand just below the wrist. In his side he has 2 wounds that will not heal, a round wound from Ishmael received in the sky of Oman head, with a slash over top it from Padin Fane's tainted dagger received in the foothills of the spine of the world near Gehin. History. His birth was heralded by Coramoor, Aes Sedai and Keeper of the Chronicles, who died from the sheer force of foretelling his birth. Her foretelling of his birth was, "He is born again. I feel him." The dragon takes his first breath on the slope of Dragon Mound. He is coming. He is coming. Light, help us. Light, help the world. He lies in the snow and cries like the thunder. He burns like the sun. Rand was born on the last day of the blood snow in 978 NE, on the slopes of Dragon Mount as prophesied. He was born to Tigraine Mantur, the former daughter-heir of Andor, who had fled to the Aiel waste to become a Maiden of the Spear, a woman warrior of the Aiel people. She had been convinced to flee by Coramoor, who said the world would be doomed if she did not. Tigraine, who renamed herself Shael, died shortly after giving birth. Galad, the son she left behind, is Rand's older half-brother. His father was Janduin, an Aiel clan chief, who led the Sharad, Rain, Naka and Tardad clans to kill King Laman-Damodid of Gehin for his sin. When he heard Shael had died, he relinquished his leadership and went off to the Great Blight to fight Trollocs. Janduin was later killed by his brother-in-law, Luke, who looked so much like Tigraine that Janduin would not lift a hand against him. Rand was found by Tam al'Thor, an Andoran man who had joined the Illian army and fought at the Blood Snow. He and his new wife, Guri al'Thor, took Rand back to Tam's home village, Emond's Field Tavern. It is revealed by Moeren that Rand is Tavern, a person around whom the pattern is woven. It is frequently shown that strangely improbable events happen around the three of them, and are especially slow when more than one is gathered. Rand is an even stronger Tavern than Artur Hawking, and signs of this manifest wherever he stays. Freakish deaths and laughably improbable accidents are common around wherever he happens to be, but are usually balanced by unexpected good fortune of equal magnitude. Winter Night. On Winter Night 998 NE, Trollocs attacked Emond's Field. Rand, his 2 friends, his childhood sweetheart Egwene Al'Vere and the gleeman Tom Merrilin were led out of Emond's Field by Aes Sedai Moeren-Damodid and her warder, Owlan Mandragoran. Lan began teaching Rand the sword. He has since achieved a Blade Master's level of skill, though not officially recognized. While he did defeat the Shaunchan Blade Master High Lord Turuk in single combat, he was not formally awarded his blade and has not been authoritatively referred to as a Blade Master since. Along with Loial the Ogier and Nino Valmira, Moeren led them to the Eye of the World in the Blight. Rand was exposed to the Eye's well of pure, uncorrupted Sidon and engaged in conflict with the Forsaken Ajna. Ajna was reduced to ash by drawing upon an excessive amount of the One Power, and Rand himself discovered, to his terror, that he was himself able to channel Sidon. It is revealed to the reader that Rand is the Dragon Reborn following these events, which ended the first book. He did not believe this when told, but after the Horn of Valere was stolen, Rand, Mat, Perriar and Loial accompanied Lord Inktar and the Shionarians to reclaim it. At the Battle of Farm, Rand and Baalzaman fought in the sky. Rand stabbed Baalzaman in the heart, but was severely and forever wounded himself by a blow struck by Baalzaman, melting off the majority of his Aes Sedai forged sword made with the power in the War of the Shadow. He was proclaimed Dragon Reborn after his victory. Prophecy that winter, he camped with Moeren, Perriar, Minfar and the Shionarians. Rand did not accept his fate. He journeyed to Dare alone, deciding this quest would end or begin his life. In the Stone of Dare, he took the Blade Kalimdor, the sword that cannot be touched, and fulfilled a major prophecy, affirming his identity as Dragon Reborn in the minds of many, not least of all his own. He then set out with Mat Egwene and Moeren to the Waste, seeking the endorsement of the Aiel as the Ka'akam, literally a chief of chiefs. In pursuit of this end, he traveled to Ruidian, where he learned the true origins of the Aiel. With the help of the female Forsaken Lanfear, he trapped Asmodine while there, and forced the male Forsaken to teach him how to use Sidon. After succeeding in being accepted as the Ka'akam, he led the Aiel out of the Waste and took Kaheen and Semlin, killing the male Forsaken Ravin. Black Tower. He was then approached by embassies from Aleida and from the Salida faction. Aleida's embassy kidnapped and shielded him from the One Power. They forced him into a box and tortured him, causing him to develop severe claustrophobia. He escaped by destroying his captors' shields, and in some cases, stealing them, at the horrific battle at Doomey's Wells. He has since forced or persuaded many Aes Sedai on both sides to swear fealty to him. He captured Ilion with the help of Davram Bashir, and was crowned its king, renaming Ilion's laurel crown the Crown of Swords. Mazrim Taim, a former false dragon, has aided Rand by establishing the Black Tower, which trains men to channel, becoming Asherman. However, it is revealed that Mazrim Taim is a traitor and is planning to kill Rand al'Thor by using the men trained at the Black Tower against Rand. The Black Tower is male counterpart to the White Tower, and originally created by Rand al'Thor. Taim had begun to style himself the Mael, or leader, although his true intentions had yet to be revealed. Mazrim Taim's intentions are later revealed through the actions of rebel Asherman. Some believe he was turned to the shadow by 13 of the Black Ajah, headed by Leon Dran Sedai in The Shadow Rising. Love as Rand is bonded as a warder to his three lovers, Minfar, Elaine Trakand, Queen of Andor, and Avinda of the Nine Valleys, Sept of the Tardad Aiel. Elaine is pregnant with his twins, who are predicted by Min's fate-reading ability to be of boy and girl. The prediction, while known to the reader, is unknown to the characters, as Birgitte, Avinda, and Min herself have forgotten it due to their excessive drinking that night. Min has also seen that Avinda will give birth to 4 of Rand's children at the same time, although she has not told anyone. Advises he is advised first by Moeren Damodid and later mostly by Katjuan Meladron of the Green Ajah and Soralia an Aiel Wise One. They have pledged to teach him laughter and tears, though in different ways, as Rand has conditioned himself not to feel emotion by reciting the names of all the women who have died directly because of his actions over Rand, over to himself, forcing himself to become harder and harder, or as he puts it, harder than steel. He believes he must be hard. Others think he is becoming cruel and bitter, and Katjuan and Soralia believe that in his current state his victory will be as bleak as losing. In the Gathering Storm, Rand banishes Kadchuan from his sight for failing to keep the male Adam from falling into the wrong hands. The only Aes Sedai that Rand allows near him and trusts, to some extent at least, is Nynaeve, because she cares for him when he cannot. He also becomes increasingly difficult to advise due to his fixation on not being manipulated. Changes and appearances. Rand has changed a great deal from the boy who left Emond's Field 2 years ago. He has gone from the stubborn boy who refused to accept he was anything more than a simple sheep herder, to an iron-willed man who sometimes seems to have lost all trace of humanity. Having grown up with the belief that men should protect women, he has memorized the name of every woman who has died for him and often berates himself with the list and the associated guilt. Many of those around him worry about his sanity, others worry about his humanity. Also notable, he has developed claustrophobia owing to events in the book Lord of Chaos, when he was trapped in a box by Aes Sedai sent by Elida, taken out only to be beaten daily. Finally, it is interesting to note that as the books have progressed, he has become less involved in the narrative, though he remains the central character. Citation needed. Book 3, The Dragon Reborn, was in fact told almost exclusively from the points of view of Mat Cawthon, Perrin Ibarra, and Egwene Alvear, despite the fact that it is undoubtedly about Rand, and the following books have continued in following the adventures of other characters besides Rand, to such a degree at times that in the 10th book, Crossroads of Twilight, Rand only appears in 2 chapters and the epilogue. Over the course of the series, in accordance with the prophecies of the Dragon Reborn, Rand has had both of his palms branded with herons, has acquired metallic dragon tattoos on both of his arms, and has lost his left hand below the wrist. The most dramatic changes to his personality occurred in the Gathering Storm. After an encounter with Semirij, a dark aura is even observed by many of his followers out of the corner of their eyes, and his tavern twisting of the pattern favors bad luck exclusively. However, after Towers of Midnight and the end of the Gathering Storm, people start to see a lightness around him that has replaced the darkness. His tavern twisting of the pattern begins to favor good luck exclusively. Another change throughout the series is how Rand is able to channel Sidon. In The Eye of the World, Moerens theorized that Rand channeled unknowingly to save his friends throughout the novel. Rand's first experience with channeling that he recognizes as such comes when he battles two Forsaken at the actual Eye of the World at that book's conclusion. For then until the cleansing of Sidon, Rand experiences great discomfort from drawing on the One Power, including feeling disgusted by the taint, and describing the One Power as sickening to hold, yet blissful to use. A citation needed. Over the course of the series, his symptoms worsen, leading to physical dizziness and nausea when he seizes Sidon, as well as beginning to hear Luz Theron's voice in his head. These problems persist even after cleansing the taint. However, after Rand comes to terms with Luz Theron and himself, it seems that these problems disappear. The Gathering Storm. In The Gathering Storm, Rand becomes even more void of emotion than ever before. He reveals that he understands that what he is doing to himself will end up killing him, but since he isn't going to survive the last battle, there's nothing of him that needs to be saved. In a fit of rage upon discovering he is being manipulated by Kadchuan through his father Tam Althor, he very nearly unleashes the One Power on Tam. Realizing what he is doing, he flees to the tip of Dragon Mountain and proceeds to think about what he's doing to himself and what it means for the world. He questions the meaning of his life and why humanity is doomed to be rewoven into the pattern. Trapped for the endless turning of the Wheel of Time, he comes very close to using the Chod Unkal to destroy the wheel and end the reweaving of the pattern, in order to prevent recurrent pain and suffering that will be repeated with each of the revolutions of the Wheel of Time. The voice of Luz Theron suddenly speaks in a sane manner, helping Rand to realize that pattern repeats are in fact blessing, as they receive a chance to undo the wrongs and to love again. Upon this realization, Rand comes to terms with himself and finally laughs, dispersing the unnatural clouds that have been in the sky throughout the book, shining a tiny glimmer of hope on his fate at Armand Gaiden. It is strongly implied that he will never hear Luz Theron's voice again, as he accepts him as part of himself, and the two are completely united. This may be the fulfillment of Min's vision that saw Rand merging with another man. Towers of Midnight. It is demonstrated that the events of the Gathering Storm have changed Rand completely. It is hinted that Rand now possesses all the memories and skills of his previous reincarnation, Luz Theron. When called a boy by Katjuan, he mentions that he is older than 400 years, and therefore should receive some respect from her, and half-seriously suggests to her to address him as Rand Sadeh, as I am, so far as I number, the only male Aes Sedai still alive who was properly raised but who never turned to the shadow. His currently achieved peace of mind is physically manifested as clouds dispersing wherever he appears, crops being healed, and people suddenly feeling sense of purpose and hope. The might and purity of his aura is further demonstrated when he appears beside two high-ranked dark friends. One commits suicide, and the other blinds himself with a stylus, unable to endure this horrible light. Rand is seen throughout the novel as trying to put out fires. He travels all over helping those he can and gathering nations and armies to use in the last battle. His biggest plan is to break the final seals on the Dark One's prison and reseal them using both Asherman and Aes Sedai, something Luz Theron failed to do last time. In this volume, Rand's ability to channel seems to have grown immensely, as seen at his single-handed eradication of a great Shadowspawn army at Maradon. During that encounter he uses innumerable weaves at the same time, although, after the battle he admits that he is tired and could become an easy target to a Forsaken at the moment. Later, he successfully enlists armies of borderland kings and queens under his banner. Reincarnation. Rand al'Thor is special in that he is the only known soul to be woven out by the Wheel of Time for a specific rebirth. Although there are other known cases of rebirth, only Rand al'Thor's rebirth has been foreseen. He is the rebirth of Luz Theron Telemann, a male Aes Sedai from the Age of Legends who gained prominence before and during the War of Power as the Dragon, the leader of the forces of light against the Shadow during the War of Power. This is why al'Thor is generally known as the Dragon Reborn. Other evidence is showcased in the prologue to The Eye of the World. Ishmael comments that he and Luz Theron have battled each other since the dawn of mankind countless times, suggesting that the dragon is a prominent figure every time the War of Power occurs. Rand hears Luz Theron's voice in his head, something that does not normally occur with reincarnation. In fact, at the end of the 11th novel, Semiraj informs him and those present that Rand is insane, and that his condition is beyond repair and all who have had former lives speaking in the heads have been driven to insanity. However, the Forsaken, including both Semiraj and Ishmael, lie habitually, so the validity of this statement is uncertain. By the end of the Gathering Storm, Rand seems to come to terms with the voice of Luz Theron, and it is strongly hinted that the voice was simply a result of subconscious rejection of his destiny and inability to come to peace with himself. At the conclusion of A Memory of Light, Rand al'Thor recreates the Dark One's prison and swaps bodies with Moradin with the help of Nakomi, a mysterious Aiel woman. Moradin is cremated in Rand's body. Only Katjuan, Olivia, Elaine, Min, and Avinda realize what has occurred, and Rand rides southward, Olivia having helped him prepare. He is seemingly given the ability to manipulate any element of the pattern in the real world, as if in Atha'an Miere. Future. It was supposedly fated for Rand al'Thor to die at Atha'an Miere, as one prophecy states, his blood on the rocks of Shayol Ghul. Nicola, a novice with the gift of foretelling, foretold the lion sword, the dedicated spear, she who sees beyond. 3 on the boat, and he who is dead yet lives. The great battle done, but the world not done with battle. The land divided by the return, and the guardians balance the servants. The future teeters on the edge of a blade. The lion sword is Elaine due to her connection to the throne of Andor. The dedicated spear is Avinda due to her previous ties to the Spear Maidens. And she who sees beyond is Min due to her power to foretell aspects of a person's future. He who is dead yet lives is Rand and is confirmed by a dream bearer Melen have. If Rand in a boat with 3 women they could not see in a scale tilting. The great battle may refer to the last battle, known as, or a large battle leading up to the final confrontation with the Dark One as featured in the last few books of the Wheel of Time series. The return could be the Shaunshan due to the return to the homeland citation needed. The Guardians refers to the Asherman, which translates as guardians in the Old Tongue. The Servants refers to the Aes Sedai, which translates as servants of all in the Old Tongue. However, if Rand dies at Atha'an Miere, he will have a son, daughter and 4 other children by Elaine and Avinda. It is unknown if he and Min shall have children together. Although, if Atha'an Miere is lost, Min's visions would mean nothing, as time would be controlled by, and all be under the control of the Dark One. Citation needed. It has also been hinted that Rand will become blind as Perios saw him through a window in Atha'an Miere with a bandage across his eyes. While looking at him, Tuon thought he didn't seem blinded yet, so that had yet to happen. And Min saw a white-hot iron as part of a viewing of him, which suggests that he will be tortured and lose his vision. This may not be so, however, for the quote from the prophecies of the dragon after the epilogue in the Gathering Storm quotes that the blind man shall stand upon his own grave, there he shall see again. Quote. This quote seems to refer to Rand's apparent blindness in his attempts to become Steel or Quendila, and his new enlightened view of life after contemplation on Dragonmount, and also is the quote that Tuon was referring to. Citation needed.